fart is going on right now? Is this real life? I know they told us that 8K was happening, but with this new announcement, it feels like it actually might happen. Is it actually gonna happen? So this morning, Canon released a few more details on their upcoming mirrorless camera, the EOS R5, and let me tell you,
I have such an erection right now.
Canon. Oh, Canon. You sure know how to make a forced entry into my tight nether regions. My wallet, because I usually keep it in my back pocket, and I'm on a tight budget right now. Anyway, let's get down and dirty with the spec sheet, and I'll give my thoughts. First, 8K at 30 frames per second. I know that sounds like overkill, but for me, I can actually think of at least one practical use for it. Anybody remember that Mevo cam that came out a few years back? It was for streaming, and then it came with an app. You could select a portion of the frame and then stream just that portion, and then you could select another portion of the frame and cut directly to it, almost like you were emulating a multicam situation, but with just one camera. Now imagine that situation, except take out the streaming, and now you have 8K instead of 4K. Assuming that your editor and your computer can handle the files, because they're going to be huge, obviously. If you're editing a 1080p video, you could zoom in up to 4 times without losing any resolution. You could essentially emulate a multicam situation where you make it look like you have a tight shot and a wide shot and any shots in between. Now, we just gotta hope that there's no low pass filter that's gonna blur the crap out of your footage. Now, if you have the bravery, nay, the self-control, to sacrifice 8.3 million pixels to the frame rate gods, Canon says you can squeeze out 120 frames per second in 4K. As far as full frame cameras go, to my knowledge, I don't know if there's any other camera that offers 120 frames per second in 4K. I think they're mostly limited to 1080p. Now I'm sure I'm forgetting something, I always am. There's probably some obscure camera that I don't know about or that I just forgot. You have my full permission to rage comment below so you can feel a little bit better about your purchase and make me feel like a moron. So far as I know, there aren't too many details about 1080p as far as features or frame rates, but if I was to guess... boss, we only got one more frame rate slot left. All of the other slots are being used by 8K or 4K.
Well, what's the most common frame rates?
Probably 24 or 60?
What number's in the middle of those?
I don't know, 42?
Just use that.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes,
No.
do it!
Now let's get into all the sexy stuff like bitrate, color profiles, chroma subsampling, not to mention codecs. It looks like RAW is going to be reserved for 8K only. Both 8K and 4K are going to be available in 10-bit 422 using H.265, and you'll have the options for C-Log or HDR. External recording is also available in some sort of weird reversal of capabilities. You end up maxing out at 4K 60. There will be no crop in 8K or 4K. You'll be able to use the full width of the sensor in all of the frame rates, it seems like, assuming that switching the camera into video mode doesn't somehow shrink the sensor to a micro four thirds sensor. DPAF will also be available.
That's not a thing.
Do people say DPAF?
Nope.
Why? It sounds just as dumb as IBIS.
You sound dumb as IBIS.
Did I just make a fool of myself?
Yeah.
Dual pixel autofocus will be available in 8K and 4K. Again, still no word on 1080p. My guess, built-in camera shake with a 3x crop at a 30-degree angle. But you'll be able to choose plus or minus 30 degrees. And they could do that. They actually could, because for the first time ever, they also have IBIS. They have 5-axis in-body stabilization. I think this is the first time ever. And the IBIS should work great with any stabilized lenses. Lastly, Canon has specified that it will in fact have dual card slots, one CF Express and one UHS Class 2 SD card slot. So thank you, Canon, for making this incredible announcement for what seems like the best camera ever. However, this is possibly the worst timing ever. I am stuck at home with tens of thousands of dollars of equipment and zero income. I am relegated to creating stock photos with surgical masks, and making videos about absolutely nothing. My only hope is that Sony has gotten the proverbial kick in the nuts. I'm sitting here filming with my A7R Mark III that I've had for the last 3 years, waiting to the time where I can switch back to an A7S body. Luckily, I still use a handful of EF glass on my Sony camera. And from my experience, these lenses work just as good, if not better, on Canon's mirrorless system. So there it is. Does Sony have something up its sleeve to keep stringing me along, or am I gonna have to sell my gallbladder to buy the R5, which could very well cost 10 grand, justifiably? The gallbladder is actually a very important organ. It's possible we could find out at the end of April, but from the rumor mill, it doesn't seem like we're gonna have an A7 body announced at all. So that wraps things up here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Give me a thumbs up if I provided any sliver of entertainment for you. As always, I'm Kavika with 9th Ave Studios. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Shoots!